daily soccer podcast with the Global Sports Podcast Network.
Hello and welcome back to the Daily Southampton, part of the Global Sports Podcast Network. My name is Greg Elliott, and as always today joined by my good friend and wonderful co-host, Zach Ingo Finch. How you doing, mate? You right?
Yeah, mate, not too bad. Like, we had a whole thing planned out for what we're going to talk about. We've gone through the presser. And then at one point, you look down at your phone and go, wait, we've just signed a new player. It's like, no, we haven't. Like, literally 20 seconds ago.
Yeah, unbelievable. Look, I said that stuff was going to happen under the radar, and then bang, there would be a signing. And you know what? I wasn't wrong.
It's very funny that you made that point like the other day, and that's just how Saints transfers work. We're like, yeah, but I think there's a lot of, and I even like me and Tracy the other day talking about how like it just feels like we're just telling fables, right? Like every single individual story that we hear is just like, oh, maybe this player's going to get signed. Probably not, but maybe it will. And that turns out that everybody. I think my favourite thing is the fact that even the Southampton account mugged off the fact that Fabrizio Romano did not manage to leak the transfer before it happened. Like, fair play. We signed a player. There's not a single rumour about it. No one knew it happened. It's for a position we need to cover in.
Yeah.
We've had all these other links and all this, that, and the other. But no. So, Greg, who have we signed?
We have signed Mads Roerslev. I hope that is.
We also spent 10 minutes figuring out the pronunciation of that name.
So if it's still wrong, at least we tried, man. I'm sorry. Mate, seems to be a promising young fullback at the right side with lots and lots of experience. Like something like 92 Premier League games.
I feel like the problem you've got, mate, is when you say that like someone's 26 and young. Realistically, yes. In the world of football, he's had like 6 seasons at Brentford, as well as like a whole little low career at Copenhagen. Like he will bring some solid experience to a team that is currently lacking it. We can't really go through his whole career. Like it's just we found out about this. I'd say about 10 minutes before we started this podcast, which is definitely why this podcast is late.
Look, who doesn't love a late night recording with some breaking news? It's how some of our best work comes about, mate. It's great. What a great way to start. I mean, I presume that it's going to be a little bit too early from a registration perspective to hope to see him in action on tomorrow as the game progresses. But, mate, positive news, making tracks in the market.
It's weird to me that Adam Blackmore seemed to think that Sugawara was moving on off the back of this transfer, though. Because I'm like, if James Bree's out ill and, like, realistically, what is he? He's a Carl Walker-Peters replacement, right? That's what it seems like to me. Like, obviously, it is to replace a position we have already lost a player at that probably needs replacing. So obviously, we're trimming down the squad too. But it's just very interesting to me. Like, obviously, the press conference today, there was, once again, transfers pretty much dominated the entire thing, right? I barely remembered if we even really talked about Stoke a lot in that. I think there was a bit of a conversation about their manager, and Will still said he thinks he's done a great job and remembers him from being at Coventry. And then we talked about how we'd be ready for the game because he studied Coventry. That seemed to be the bit of the press conference that was actually about the game.
Yeah. And the rest was just, you've been linked with this player. What do you think of this player? Yeah, he's all right. What do you make of this player? What's the progress on this transfer? Slow. What do you make of this player? Yeah. I mean, the only other thing I took from the press conference was a slightly downheartening line, which might have flown slightly under the radar, where he said, it's a shame when national managers push for playing in the top 5 leagues for an international space in a World Cup year, which, I mean, I can only presume is talking about Matty Fernandez, although maybe Harwood Bellis.
If you look, we've got a couple of internationals. If Adam Blackmore is onto something, then maybe it could also be Sugawara.
Yeah.
Remember, Sugawara is a Japanese international,
Yeah.
and it wouldn't surprise. It also I don't know if that's every single national manager or specific national managers for specific teams that
It
are.
felt very pointed that someone has said this and it's upset Will Steele. And it was pointed out that the Championship would probably, to a lot of people, be considered a higher quality than some of those top 5 leagues. And I would go even further and say that the Championship is the best league in the world. So,
Famously on record, mate, a
yeah,
point that you have consistently made since we secured our place in the Championship this year.
yeah, that's it. And I mean, yeah, we guess we'll wait and see. He said there was going to be some definite outgoings before the week is out. And I guess that we'll
That's
just
tomorrow.
wait with bated
And
breath. Well, I mean, it depends where you draw the line at a week, I suppose. Such a nice ambiguous term. But, I mean, if not before, I presume that it'll become pretty clear with the team selection come game day tomorrow. So,
the thing is all that chain that we talked about, right? That house buying chain starting to click into gear across the different leagues and then across all the different teams, right? You've got like Eze moving on from Crystal Palace, which might open the door for Dibbling to go to Palace if he wanted to, which means that Everton will miss out. That's kind of on them. You have West Ham missing out on transfers left, right, and centre and kind of insulting us. But that doesn't mean that as different things move, as we've done a bit of business with Brentford now, they need to reinforce probably. Their stuff will start to get very busy by the looks of it. So
yeah, man, it's going to be always.
We certainly still need to trim. We just got to hope that we trim the stuff we don't need, and we're not left with.
I've heard 3 clubs linked with Bemba and Diaz this morning. So I mean, what more could you ask for, really? It's an absolute dream. But look, this is a match preview, Zach. So we would be remiss to not talk about the match. And look, Stoke are flying a bit high at the moment. I mean, literally top of the table as it stands. So this is a tough game, right? This isn't a walk in the park.
The position they're in, right? We have but also the problem is, Greg, is that every time we've ever done this and talked about us playing Stoke, it's not been entertaining. So, but I do think it is a bit of a different.
I refuse to be tricked into believing this is going to be a flamboyant, interesting game because it's a pill I've taken before and just been humbled time and time again when it's like, no, it should be a good game. They're playing all right football this season. It just never is. I don't know what it is. Like, I don't know. It's just like the styles just clash too much or what it is. But man.
But Greg, how could that be possible if our style changes every year depending on the weather? So, and apparently, by the sounds of it, Will Steele is pretty confident that he's done a lot of research and he knows what he's coming up against and you know how to play it.
It's a tricky one. It's hard because it's so hard to tell at this part of the season anyway. And realistically, I know Stoke have had 2 reasonably impressive wins, but also if you're looking at it from before the season, they've beaten 2 teams that you would have expected them to beat.
Yes, right. Derby and Sheffield Wednesday, who are really struggling. And also, they got through the cup on penalties, but that's against Walsall. That was a bit of a...
That was a 0-0, like a toothless affair. So, I'm cautiously optimistic, I guess, is the sort of standard standpoint, I guess, is a Saints fan to be excited, but with that reservation that you can never be too excited.
I will treat them like they're a top of the table side, and we'll see how it goes. But obviously, we'll have a think about the team selections, mate. Probably after we hear a word from our partners, maybe at Bioniq. Does that sound like a good idea?
That sounds like an absolute dream.
Perfect.
Your body is unique, and Global Sports Podcast Network has partnered with Bioniq, the world's most personalised supplements. Bioniq provide 100% tailor-made supplements designed to deliver precisely what your body needs at exactly the right levels to optimise your health. No guessing. So click the link in the show notes. Use the code GSPN2025 for 40% off your first month's subscription. Bioniq. Don't settle for off-the-shelf solutions made for just anybody. Get what's right for you right now. Your body.
Okay, and we are back. Okay, lots of questions here, Zach. Let's start, as we tend to do, with the back line. Is this the week we drop to a back four, do you think?
I'd like to see it. But I understand why we've done it. We seem to move into the latter half when we can get fresh legs on. But I'd like to see it. That's kind of where I'm at.
I mean, who misses out? I presume that Stevens is going to be the first name on the team sheet.
Yeah.
So who's with him? Harwood Bellis or Quasi?
I wouldn't be surprised if he gives Quasi a week off, right? And that's there's no disrespect to the guy. I just think that he's had a lot of games thick and fast. They've made a couple of mistakes here and there, and that's no. It's no it's weird how quickly a lot of the fan base are getting mad at the fact that and I think it's just. I think we talked about this before, Greg, and I know that some people might laugh at it, but I genuinely feel like across the fan base there is like a level of trauma that just has made us all like hyper alert to oh no, a defender's had a bad run, bad spell. Wellington kicked that ball. Oh no, it's happening again because of how many times it happened last season. And I think it's just going to take a while.
I think you're right. Yeah.
So I wouldn't be surprised if Harwood Bellis plays. Him and Stevens didn't exactly have the best communication last game, right? So I don't know, but if not, maybe Nathan Wood gets a run in eventually.
Interesting that we've not seen a lot of him, to be honest. Where I think a lot of people would have probably had him around the starters based off of the lineup at the start of the season. So
I don't really know if that's necessarily true, right? Because Ronnie Edwards has come off the back of a really good championship season. Also, they've got that experience there. Jack Stevens has become the captain we always wanted him to be. That's a lie. He just had the whole season last season is a write-off at this point.
I thought you were going to say it's a lie. No one wanted him to be the captain. That might have been arguably true as well.
I'm not having that entire argument right now, but he's played really well so far this season, and you have to judge him on merit, right? And so, of course, he's the new signing, the new boy that they've brought in. They want to see how he fits into the team. He's quite tall. He's quite, plays very kind of a bit differently. And unfortunately, he's been caught with those differences of lack of passing and distribution and stuff like that. Things that in our preview episode, we kind of covered a little bit. And that might just take some time to gel in. And he even himself said the biggest difference has been the absolute level of physicality for the championship that he just wasn't expecting. And as fit as Wilstead is making them all, but of course, because he is the new player, they're going to want to give him the run in, right? So because of that leaves Nathan Wood behind all of those other players, which is probably why he struggled to get into the team.
Yeah, I honestly suspect this week we're going to stick with that back three, and I think that it will remain Quasi and Stevens and either Harwood Bellis or Edwards. I wouldn't be surprised at all by that lineup. Fullbacks, Ryan Manning.
I think Manning's back in now. I think that he's now become one of the ones that people expect to be on the team sheet. It doesn't help that Wellington didn't have the greatest of games last game. It was frustrating probably for him more than anybody else. And again, we've already talked about how there's a lot of untapped potential in him. And obviously you're going to need game time to do that. But also we're at the beginning of the season and we're trying to pick up points quite quickly. And it's not like we've got any injuries or anything else like that. And so far, Ryan Manning has been, one of the saviours of the first game of the season. And we just seem to play a bit better with him.
Yeah.
So the real question after that then, mate, is the other wing back.
Is Yuki settled enough to start, or are we seeing the return of Weeman at right back?
It was weird, but I could see it happening again. I could see it being the case, right? If we've got...
I've got to give massive shout-outs to Ryan Fraser, and when you consider that realistically a lot of fans' concerns based off of his history with other clubs, and specifically with Eddie Howe, I suppose, was an attitude-based problem. boy, is there none of that this season, right? Just like willing to go out, put it all on the line. He's got himself into some ridiculous shape and is just happy to play wherever he is on the pitch and like make it work.
Look, it might have been the case, right? It might have been the case that he did have an attitude problem back then. The problem is there needs to be an acceptance of the willingness that people changed, right? Some people will not and will struggle with these sort of things, like Mario Lemina is an example, right? We hoped that after he left us, maybe he'd grow up a little bit. He did. He then was made captain at Wolves and then did the same thing again for his toys out the pram and got moved on. Whereas you're right, with Ryan Fraser, like there is a lot of that. We were told to expect it. We had even some of our own fan base seem to kind of be treating him like that, despite the fact that he didn't really do anything other than make a mistake at Leicester last year.
Yeah.
Like there was nothing to say.
Self-proclaimed that he didn't have a good season last year, and
exactly.
And but look,
well, he's having a good season so far.
Look, yeah, we said we were all about here for redemption arcs, and I'm here for it, and I love seeing it. And was it on my bingo card at the start of the season? Absolutely not. Nope. Does that make me love it any less? Absolutely not. Bring it on.
100% expected him to be moved on, mate. Did not expect him to be here.
Midfield, presumably Downs and Charles is just an expected, like, these are the two names you would expect to see on the team sheet every week if available this season, right?
Yep, pretty much.
Seems to be an important part of the system. They're sort of double pivot style, holding midfield coverage, sort of all the other technical terms that you want to throw at it, but they seem to have...
Who else are you going to put there? Like, Matsuki's probably together. The only person, and Smallbone is out.
I wouldn't put Matsuki in place of either of those players because I think of him as a far more attacking player.
Yeah, but that's a role that he could play, and that's but then if you were going to, so obviously you don't put him there, but if say one of them was injured, he's who you'd call up because at the moment Aribo is probably. He's either on his way out or suddenly we're going to discover that he's going to be here for another year. Yeah. But that will be after the window's closed, in my opinion. I think until that point, they're going to be trying, well, not necessarily the club, but he probably is exploring options. And Smallbone's out with, with injury still, right? So
what about that other midfield spot? Are we still seeing Matty, do you think? Or do you think he's out the door by this point?
I don't think so yet. I think that is a transfer that, because of the nature of his agent, we would have heard more about already. And I think that you've read into those comments, and I believe that there's the case that there's probably issues with international. But also, bear in mind, he was playing in the under-23s Portugal, right? Like he's not in the main squad yet.
Maybe it's not him. Oh, let's hope. Let's hope that it's just because it wasn't just confirming my worst fears.
It could be. You're right. It could be Taylor Harwood-Bellis. It could be, as I said, it could be Sugawara because Sugawara's like an international. It could be like if you look at the internationals in our squad, there's a couple, not as many as it used to be. That has to be said, but it might not be him. And even if that's the case, just because that's what they've told him, and that's what he's thinking about, he might not be that bothered about leaving. Like he doesn't look like a player that's refusing to train.
Here's a slightly wild thought, mate. Could it have been Diblin being tapped up in time for a cooler?
Genuinely, one of the things that I'm thinking of is that if he has ambitions to make the World Club squad or play well enough or play in the Premier League, it's kind of at this point we're not. No one's surprised by it. Like the ego boost of last season to him as a person, of course, is going to have an effect. And if at this point, if there are clubs showing interest, and there have been clubs showing interest, sure he might end up going. It was just remember he was a breath of fresh air last year, and we shouldn't I know that we've dithered back.
Look, I've got so much respect for both of them because despite all of it, they're playing, they're training, they're playing. Like his time off wasn't because he threw his toys out of a pram and had a wobbler. Like Will still was just like, I just wanted to give him space to work it out, but that space is. He got on the pitch last week and was all right, and is said to be training well this week. So fair play.
It's happened a lot with a lot of our transfers. A lot of our transfers in the last couple of years, we've had a lot of players that haven't. Carl Walker-Peters, didn't sign a new contract. It was been nice to get some money, but at the end of the day, he left at the end of conclusion of his contract after playing really, really well for us. There are no players. Teller when he went, that kind of came out of the blue. We didn't expect it, and then he went on
Yeah.
to a Bundesliga and had the season of his life. And that was after the whole free Burnley stuff. But he played in one of our games and scored that goal that was apparently Adam Armstrong's goal. Yeah, which we talked about.
I mean, I personally spoke to Nathan Teller after that goal, and he was still attesting that it was his. So
James Ward-Prowse is another one that, as much as I know that people kind of feel, and even us have kind of said, well, that didn't work. I think the only person that I think we've been surprised by recently who left and kind of left with a bit of taste in everybody's mouth was probably Danny Ings, and I don't think that was intentional. I think that there was a lot of stuff going on where he said he kind of wanted to leave, and it turned out that the only club that came in from the end at that time was Villa. Before then he got moved to West Ham anyway. He's currently without a club, so look forward to those final days
to try and rope us back on topic, Zach.
Sure, sorry.
Before we ramble off too far and too long, I guess a front three. If we're playing Weeman at right back, Robinson, Archer, and one of either Downs or Stewart? Or do you think Armour does enough to get in place of Archer?
Would you not expect Dibbling to start?
I don't know. Maybe in play. I mean, look, for me, we've talked about how I categorise our strikers currently. I want to see either one of Archer and Armstrong, either one of Downs or Stewart. And actually, I think I would be happy with either Robinson or Dibbling. I think if you want to... I'm happy with any combination of those six as long as it's in that sort of basket combination, I think is where I want to see it.
Not just leaving one of them on their own, I think is your thing, right? So I would say maybe Downs and Armour. Armour was top goal scorer in the Championship for a reason. I know that it's been a bit of a struggle for him to recapture that form, and again going to the Baggies didn't help that. But then also same with Damien Downs, in my opinion. I think that there's a lot of potential in him. I think
he just needs to hit the net and get that confidence.
Yeah, so that's the problem, right? Because at the moment the confidence is I missed an open goal due to checks notes my feet.
Look, I feel like all of our strikers, Archer included in this, they just need that goal to hit the ground running.
I know.
Stuart,
the only worry is you've been saying that for so long.
Well, yeah, I know. I mean, this feels like the same episodes that we were posting at the start of last season, but this time there's a bit more actual hope behind it that it might actually come true. I don't know. Right, that's our best attempt at starting lineup, mate. I don't think we're getting closer than that. We'll see how it comes about 2:00 tomorrow. But we're going to move on to everyone's favourite part, score predictions. But first, a message from our partners at Zencastr. Here at the Global Sports Podcast Network, we spent a lot of time selecting our delivery platform. Zencastr came out the clear winner. With 4K video recording from your phone and AI editing that automatically removes all those ums and ahs, it's super easy to start a podcast that sounds great and is delivered efficiently. If you're ready to tell your story, check out the link in the show description and learn more about Zencastr. Okay, we are back. And as is tradition, Zach, I'm going to throw you under the bus first. Tell me, mate, how are you feeling? Right. What do you think is going to happen?
Well, they've historically gone with getting 3 goals. It's going to be boring, according to you. So I'm going to go completely against the curve and say we're going to win. Let's go 3-0. Let's go. Let's keep a clean sheet. Let's make a statement. Let's put ourselves back where we belong and think we should be. Can't wait for this to bite me behind within a day. However, that's how I'm feeling. It might be sleep deprivation. It might be how late we're recording this in comparison to our usual recording time. It might be the fact that I've had a long day. But I need a bit of optimism in my life, mate. So 3-0.
All right, mate, look, it's time for the return of one of our old friends. And look, towards the end of last season, I stopped looking at this because it got far too depressing. But we're back with my little AI-generated
Perfect.
The long-awaited return. And look, of the previous 16 meetings between Southampton and Stoke, Saints have won 5, Stoke have won 5, and 6 of them have ended in a draw. and the average goal per game is 1.3. So,
Oh, can I change it to 1-0 now?
so
3. Buck that trend.
I think we're going to win 2-1.
Have you predicted 2-1 every time? Every score this so far? I bet it's been 2 games.
I think I've been going 3-1 normally.
Right.
I think in fact I think I predicted a clean sheet last week. I feel like I'm mixing it up. 2-1. I don't know if a clean sheet's on the cards yet. Is where I'm at.
I'm very surprised you didn't do like a 1-0 because it is Stoke. And you're right. That's the problem. Is that like the statistics can be used to anything in life, right? We've discussed this before.
Feels really boring, doesn't it? Like maybe you're right. It's probably going to be 1-0, but I don't know if I can. I don't know if I see a clean sheet in our future, and I want us to win. So 2-1 is the lowest scoring way of achieving that.
Perfect.
But look, win's a win, innit? I'll be looking forward to it. Unfortunately, I'm not going to this game. Other family commitments dragging me elsewhere. But as mentioned in our 3 p.m. blackout episode yesterday, that will not prevent me sitting and keeping up with the scores, even to an extent where I will get in trouble. But my kids are going, so I look forward to bringing you their reviews of the match in our match review. Because that's going to be fantastic, top quality content for sure. But look, great. Both predicting a win. The optimism's back.
Sit long at last, mate, eh?
Oh, mate, I just can't wait. We're going to win the league. It's going to be great. Look, thank you very much, everyone, for joining us. That is all we've got time for today. We hope you have a wonderful weekend and enjoy the match. We will be back on Monday, whatever happens, with our reactions and our reviews of the game. Let us know your score predictions on the socials and in the comments. We are on X, we are on Blue Sky, we are on TikTok, we are on Facebook, we are on Instagram. We're everywhere. Come and let us know how you think we're going to get on. Let's have a great weekend. Come on, Saints. Another win. We're going to do it. Top of the league, maybe. Maybe that's the top sort of time of the season we're getting to. Get to first and stay there. Let's hope. We'll see you Monday. Have a great weekend, everyone.
Your daily soccer podcast with the Global Sports Podcast Network.